Tyson Fury is ready to rumble again, and the re-emergent WBC heavyweight champ knows exactly who he wants to square off with in his return to the ring. Despite ostensibly retiring from boxing earlier this year, Fury recently issued an epic challenge to Anthony Joshua, offering his longtime foe and fellow countryman the opportunity to fight for the WBC heavyweight title and lineal championship in a so-called Battle of Britain.
If you're interested, I'll send you the date over and we can rumble. A Battle of Britain for the WBC Heavyweight Championship of the world.
The social media call-out sent shockwaves through the boxing world, not only because Fury was seemingly out of the game about 20 minutes ago, but because these two have been itching to throw down for a long time, and yet somehow they've never managed to get in the ring together. And while nothing is set in stone, it looks like a long-awaited clash between these two titans may finally actually happen. There's a lot to unpack here, but we've got you covered. Sit back, relax, and take this in. Over the course of the last decade plus, Fury and Joshua solidified themselves as two of the greatest heavyweight fighters in British boxing history. The 34-year-old Fury remains undefeated in his pro career, has held the WBC heavyweight belt since 2020, and is a former unified heavyweight champ who's taken down giants like Deontay Wilder and Vladimir Klitschko. Meanwhile, Joshua, who's a month shy of his 33rd birthday, is himself a former two-time unified heavyweight champ and Olympic gold medalist. For one reason or another, though, the two Brits cultivated their rich legacies without squaring off against one another, even as the hostility between them and the boxing world's collective desire to see them do battle intensified.
Just do it!
Finally, in 2020, with Fury holding the WBC heavyweight title and Joshua holding the IBF, WBO, and WBA belts, the two agreed to square off for undisputed heavyweight champion status. It had the makings of one of the greatest heavyweight bouts of this century. However, due to scheduling difficulties and a legal quagmire that ultimately forced Fury to stage a trilogy fight against Wilder, the bout never materialized. Instead, Joshua ended up losing his unified title to Alexander Usyk in September of 2021, and just over a half year later, Fury retired, calling it quits after defeating Dillian Whyte at Wembley Stadium to cap his career with a record of 32-0-1. Ultimately, it seemed, the Fury-Joshua showdown just wasn't meant to be. They were ships in the night.
Poetry.
Well, fast forward a little bit, and those ships are suddenly on a collision course. Recently, after teasing a comeback in August only to quickly reaffirm his commitment to retirement, Fury again suggested he wasn't done fighting by calling out Usyk, who had just successfully defended his unified heavyweight title in a rematch against Joshua.
Middleweight, you will get smashed to bits.
Usyk, however, didn't take the bait, preferring to wait until 2023 for a potential title unification fight against Fury. But rather than recede back into semi-retirement, Fury instead set his sights on another target in the interim. And who did he pick? His most elusive opponent yet? Joshua. With his WBC championship belt draped around his neck, Fury called out his beltless rival in a video he posted to social media, offering Joshua a chance to fight for the WBC championship at some point in the next few months. And Joshua, who's coming off consecutive defeats for the first time in his pro career, doesn't really have a good reason to say no. As Fury himself pointed out, Joshua is fight ready, having just gone 12 rounds with Usyk in Saudi Arabia, and Fury even offered his would-be opponent 40% of the purse because he's that determined to make a Battle of Britain happen. And on top of that, Joshua has to fight someone in the next few months. His lucrative new contract with DAZN requires him to fight twice per year, and his August loss to Usyk is so far his only bout in 2022. So then, the million-dollar question. Or rather, the untold hundreds of millions of pounds question. Is it gonna happen? Well, hopefully. Maybe. After first being called out by Fury, Joshua quickly responded on Twitter, noting that he'll be ready to go in December. Oh, and he also took a little jab at the lineal champ, pointedly noting that he doesn't do online discussions for clout. However, Joshua apparently didn't give a definitive yes quickly enough for the champ, who soon started bombarding Joshua with taunts to take the fight and set a very tight deadline for him to accept.
AJ, I'll make it nice and quick for you. I'll do it inside 6 rounds so you can get out of there and get in one piece and go home and have a nice little night out on Sunday.
Fury's deadline notwithstanding, it seems like they're still a ways away from finalizing anything. And it's hardly a foregone conclusion that the WBC would automatically greenlight a fight between their heavyweight champion and a seemingly fading star who no longer occupies a spot in the WBC rankings. Having said that, they probably will. This fight has genuinely been years in the making and still has the potential to enrapture boxing fans. Better late than never, right? Or what say you? Will this long-awaited bout actually go down? And does Joshua have a chance to unseat Fury? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. As always, we appreciate you. We'll see you next time.